So on to our first book. It's How to Build a Boat by Elaine Feeney. Well, John?
This book is about a boy who's, I don't know what end of the spectrum he's at, but he's in the spectrum.
Okay.
And that's what really makes it interesting. And when I picked it up and I started to read it, my mind was on fire because she takes off at 90 through his eyes.
Wow.
And it's like, you know? Jeez, I was tired. I was stop. This is not making any sense. And
Do we need to sleep before we read it?
I'm only realising then, of course, this is what she's doing. It's through his eyes I'm seeing this world. And then it just seems to calm down. We go, all right, wow, to like a bit of a roller coaster starting off, you know, just kind of shot off for about 5, I don't know how many pages, and I was exhausted after it. And suddenly, well, that's pretty clever because obviously that was him, you know, and this is the world he's seeing, you know, and responding to. There's actually 3, I think there's 3 stories in this book, you know. There's himself, Jamie, and then 2 teachers who befriend him, you know. So they're like the 3 musketeers, I think, these 3 people, and he's in the middle of them. And he has this amazing mind and capacity to, obviously, to learn, to read. He's highly intelligent because, I mean, I think in the book, unless I'm mistaken, he's reading Edgar Allan Poe at the age of 4. Like, wow. I mean, I went to see had I any Edgar Allan Poe at home, like, because my wife now be more of a. We had actually a lovely book, and Harry Clark did the illustrations in it, and there it was.
And he's quite dark, Edgar Allan Poe.
Dark wouldn't be the word for it. I kind of put it down again. I said, this is supposed to be maybe mystical, fairy tale, a bit gothic. But I said, I've enough of that, lads, you know what I mean? And he's reading it at 4 or 5.
And do we follow his youth all the way through?
Not really, no. It's only about his first year you kind of get a glimpse into when he comes into the first 6 months of his secondary schooling. Wow. And it's set, and he meets these 2 teachers who are both employed and work inside in the secondary school, which is sort of like a diocesan kind of religious school. His attitude towards this teacher, who in his part-time, who's a woodworker, would they build a boat? Let's put it like that. That's where it comes down to.
So they actually build a boat.
They do build a boat, yeah. But it's a beautiful journey because it's not the boat that Jamie wants to build because it's a curragh. So curragh is made, you know, he goes out and he cuts willow and he does bits of larch and, you know, it's how he learned how to make a curragh. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is not big engineering works. This is more instinctive. This is like something that's inherent within us and he is as an islander, this teacher. Yeah. So he meets the 2 teachers and they're exciting. It's as much about their lives as much as his. And you kind of wonder, you think, right, here we go, right, we have these 2 lovely adults who are probably going to save, and you suddenly realise, my God, their whole life, the 2 of them are 2 train wrecks, really, to some extent. I'm not giving too much. So they kind of, I suppose, there's a bit of redemption for them all in it.
Yes.
But all through this connection with this young boy to some extent. You know
and
what
as
I mean?
you said, you were just chatting with us before about it's a book of lessons for life, is it really?
Well, very much. I saw it as that anyway. I think everyone was bringing something to the table, and in this little group of people, which was fascinating because they're all so diverse. There was this kind of thing of learning about one another and learning about themselves in it, and suddenly finding out when they were maybe in the process of helping somebody else, they were actually helping themselves, you know.
Yes.
So this unfolds, and I suppose that's the humanity of that brought me through it, you know what I mean? I said, God, I want to find out what happens here, you know. Yeah. But there is 3, to me, there's 3 stories happening here, you know.
Did you find it gave you a deeper understanding of autism? Like, if that's something I would be very interested in. I know a couple of people on the spectrum. I'd love to read something that brought me through what it feels like.
Well, you see, it does and it doesn't too, because in some ways as I said, there's 3 different stories going on here. And you could say that, like, well, maybe we could refine it down and let's not have such a big broad brush to paint with so that we can focus in and get more nuance from each of the characters. And it kind of doesn't happen. And I was trying to figure out, like, well, is that a fault, or do I think it's a fault because maybe I want to know more specifics?
Yeah.
But I think she's deliberately chosen to do this, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things brought up here as well with regards to that institution where, I call it an institution, God forgive me, it's a school, a place they're learning, should that be called? But I suppose it reminded me so much of what I went through, the snobbery when I was growing up, because I had dyslexia, and very bad dyslexia growing up. And I was the only member of my family who didn't go to a secondary school. I went for a year, but then I had to study Latin, Irish, English, French, all through books, which I couldn't even read English.
Yeah, wow.
So therefore, like, that was like, So I went to a vocational school, and in the sense that, my God, the freedom that the very minute I walked through the doors of that school, because number one, they were all lay people. And this happens in this book as well. We find that, and that's why I was saying it's 2019. I'm saying, God, it sounds a bit primitive, you know, what I'm hearing from this book about the dogma from the principle and stuff. It just brought me back to when I was a kid. I said, surely this isn't still going on. Don't tell me this is going on. So I hope she's taken artistic license in that sense, you know.
Yeah, well, look, you have sold it to me, John. I'll be reading it, definitely. I mean, it just sounds absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And let's face it, we all need a few life lessons to help us along, don't we?
Yeah, and there's beautiful passages of writing in it as well. I mean, there is some lovely things as well as all the other
stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Not at all.
And let's all hope that someone pops that in a little present for us all.